Banksy is a pseudonymous United Kingdom-based graffiti artist, political activist, film director, and painter. His satirical street art and subversive epigrams combine dark humour with graffiti executed in a distinctive stenciling technique. Such artistic works of political and social commentary have been featured on streets, walls, and bridges of cities throughout the world. Banksy's work was made up of the Bristol underground scene, which involved collaborations between artists and musicians. According to author and graphic designer Tristan Manco in the book Home Sweet Home, Banksy was born in 1974 and raised in Bristol, England. The son of a photocopier technician, he trained as a butcher, but became involved in graffiti during the Great Bristol aerosol boom of the late 1980s. Observers have noted that his style is similar to Blick Larat, who began to work with stencils in 1981 in Paris. Banksy says that he was inspired by 3D, a graffiti artist who later became a founding member of Massive Attack. Known for his contempt for the government in labeling graffiti as vandalism, Banksy displays his art on publicly visible surfaces such as walls, even going as far as to build physical prop pieces. Banksy does not sell photographs or reproductions of his street graffiti, but art auctioneers have been known to attempt to sell his street art on location and leave the problem of its removal in the hands of the winning bidder. Banksy's first film, Exit Through the Gift Shop, billed as the world's first street art disaster movie, made its debut at the 2010 Sundance Film Festival. The film was released in the UK on March 5, 2010. In January 2011, he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Documentary for the film. In 2014, he was awarded Person of Year at the 2014 Webby Awards. Early career, Banksy began as a freehand graffiti artist in 1994 as one of Bristol's Dry Bread Z crew, with Kato and Tess. He was inspired by local artists and his work was part of the larger Bristol underground scene with Nick Walker, Inky and 3D. During this time he met Bristol photographer Steve Lazarides, who began selling Banksy's work, later becoming his agent. From the start, Banksy used stencils as elements of his freehand pieces too. By 2000 he had turned to the art of stenciling after realizing how much less time it took to complete a work. He claims he changed to stenciling while he was hiding from the police under a rubbish lorry, when he noticed the stenciled serial number, and by employing this technique, he soon became more widely noticed for his art around Bristol and London. He played football with the Eastern Cowboys and Cowgirls in the 1990s and toured with the club to Mexico in 2001. Banksy's first known large wall mural was the Mild West, painted in 1997 to cover advertising of a former solicitor's office on Stokes Croft Avenue, Bristol. It depicts a tie-dye bear lobbing a Molotov cocktail at 3 riot police. Banksy's stencils feature striking and humorous images occasionally combined with slogans. The message is usually anti-war, anti-capitalist or anti-establishment. Subjects often include rats, apes, policemen, soldiers, children, and the elderly. In July 2011, one of Banksy's early works, Gorilla in a Pink Mask, which had been a prominent landmark on the exterior wall of a former social club in Eastville for over 10 years, was unwittingly painted over after the premises became a Muslim cultural center. Exhibitions. On June 19, 2002, Banksy's first Los Angeles exhibition debuted at 3313 Gallery, a tiny Silver Lake venue owned by Frank Sosa. The exhibition, entitled Existentialism, was curated by 33113 Gallery, Malathion LA's Chris Vargas, Funk Lazy Promotions Grace Gin, and B+. In 2003, at an exhibition called Turf War, held in a warehouse, Banksy painted on animals. Although the RSPCA declared the conditions suitable, an animal rights activist chained herself to the railings in protest. He later moved on to producing subverted paintings. One example is Monet's Water Lily Pond, adapted to include urban detritus such as litter and a shopping trolley floating in its reflective waters. Another is Edward Hopper's Nighthawks, redrawn to show that the characters are looking at a British football hooligan, dressed only in his Union flag underpants, who has just thrown an object through the glass window of the cafe. These oil paintings were shown at a 12-day exhibition in Westbourne Grove, London in 2005. Banksy, along with Shepard Fairey Ray, Moat and others created work at a warehouse exhibition in Alexandria, Sydney for semi-permanent in 2003. Approximately 1,500 people attended. A £10 notes to Barely Legal. In August 2004, Banksy produced a quantity of spoof British £10 notes substituting the picture of the Queen's head with Diana, Princess of Wales's head and changing the text Bank of England to Banksy of England. Someone threw a large wad of these into a crowd at Notting Hill Carnival that year, which some recipients then tried to spend in local shops. These notes were also given with invitations to a Santa's Ghetto exhibition by Pictures on Walls. The individual notes have since been selling on eBay for about £200 each. A wad of the notes were also thrown over a fence and into the crowd near the NME signing tent at the Reading Festival. A limited run of 50 signed posters containing 10 uncut notes were also produced and sold by Pictures on Walls for £100 each to commemorate the death of Princess Diana. One of these sold in October 2007 at Bonham's auction house in London for £24,000. In August 2005, Banksy, on a trip to the Palestinian territories, created 9 images on the Israeli West Bank wall. Banksy held an exhibition called Barely Legal, billed as a 3-day vandalized warehouse extravaganza in Los Angeles, on the weekend of September 16, 2006. The exhibition featured a live elephant in a room, painted in a pink and gold floral wallpaper pattern, which, according to leaflets handed out at the exhibition, was intended to draw attention to the issue of world poverty. Although the Animal Services Department had issued a permit for the elephant, after complaints from animal rights activists, the elephant appeared unpainted on the final day. Its owners rejected claims of mistreatment and said that the elephant had done many movies. She's used to makeup. Banksy also made artwork displaying Queen Victoria as a lesbian and satirical pieces that incorporated art made by Andy Warhol and Leonardo da Vinci. The Banksy Effect. After Christina Aguilera bought an original of Queen Victoria as a lesbian and 2 prints for £25,000, on October 19, 2006, a set of Kate Moss paintings sold in Sotheby's London for £50,400, setting an auction record for Banksy's work. The 6 silk screen prints, featuring the model painted in the style of Andy Warhol's Marilyn Monroe pictures, sold for 5 times their estimated value. His stencil of a green Mona Lisa with real paint dripping from her eyes sold for £57,600 at the same auction. In December, journalist Max Foster coined the phrase, the Banksy Effect, to illustrate how interest in other street artists was growing on the back of Banksy's success. On February 21, 2007, Sotheby's auction house in London auctioned 3 works, reaching the highest ever price for a Banksy work at auction, over £102,000 for his Bombing Middle England. 2 of his other graffiti works, Balloon Girl and Bomb Hugger, sold for £37,200 and £31,200 respectively, which were well above their estimated prices. The following day's auction saw a further 3 Banksy works reach soaring prices. Ballerina with Action Man parts reached £96,000. Glory sold for £72,000. Entitled sold for £33,600. All significantly above estimated values. To coincide with the second day of auctions, Banksy updated his website with a new image of an auction house scene showing people bidding on a picture that said, "I can't believe you morons actually buy this shit." In February 2007, the owners of a house with a Banksy mural on the side in Bristol decided to sell the house through Red Propeller Art Gallery after offers fell through because the prospective buyers wanted to remove the mural. It is listed as a mural that comes with the house attached. In 2008, Nathan Wellard and Mav Neal, a couple from Norfolk, UK, made headlines in Britain when they decided to sell their mobile home that contains a 30-foot mural, entitled Fragile Silence, done by Banksy a decade prior to his rise to fame. According to Nathan Wellard, Banksy had asked the couple if he could use the side of their home as a large canvas, to which they agreed. In return for the canvas, the Bristol stencil artist gave them 2 free tickets to the Glastonbury Music Festival. 1. The mobile home purchased by the couple 11 years ago for £1,000 is now being sold for £500,000. In April 2007, Transport for London painted over Banksy's iconic image of a scene from Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, featuring Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta clutching bananas instead of guns. Although the image was very popular, Transport for London claimed that the graffiti created a general atmosphere of neglect and social decay which in turn encourages crime, and their staff are professional cleaners not professional art critics. Banksy tagged the same side again and, initially, the actors were portrayed as holding real guns instead of bananas, but they were adorned with banana costumes. Sometime later, Banksy made a tribute artwork over this second Pulp Fiction work. The tribute was for 19-year-old British graffiti artist Ozone who, along with fellow artist Wants, was hit by an underground train in Barking, East London on January 12, 2007. Banksy depicted an angel wearing a bulletproof vest holding a skull. He also wrote a note on his website saying, "The last time I hit this spot I painted a crap picture of two men in banana costumes waving handguns." A few weeks later a writer called Ozone completely dogged it and then wrote, "If it's better next time I'll leave it in the bottom corner." When we lost Ozone we lost a fearless graffiti writer and as it turns out a pretty perceptive art critic. Ozone rest in peace. On April 27, 2007, a new record high for the sale of Banksy's work was set with the auction of the Workspace Girl and Bird fetching £288,000, around 20 times the estimate at Bonhams of London. On May 21, 2007 Banksy gained the award for Art's Greatest Living Britain. Banksy, as expected, did not turn up to collect his award and continued with his notoriously anonymous status. On June 4, 2007, it was reported that Banksy's The Drinker had been stolen. In October 2007, most of his works offered for sale at Bonhams Auction House in London sold for more than twice their reserve price. Banksy has published a manifesto on his website. The text of the manifesto is credited as the diary entry of one Lieutenant Colonel Mervyn Willett Gunnin, DSO, which is exhibited in the Imperial War Museum. It describes how a shipment of lipstick to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp immediately after its liberation at the end of World War II helped the internees regain their humanity. However, as of January 18, 2008, Banksy's manifesto has been substituted with Graffiti Heroes No. 3 that describes Peter Chappell's graffiti quest of the 1970s that worked to free George Davis of his imprisonment. By August 12, 2009 he was relying on Emo Phillips. "When I was a kid I used to pray every night for a new bicycle. Then I realized God doesn't work that way, so I stole one and prayed for forgiveness." A small number of Banksy's works can be seen in the movie Children of Men, including a stenciled image of two policemen kissing and another stencil of a child looking down a shop. Banksy, who is not represented by any of the commercial galleries that sell his work second-hand, claims that the exhibition at Van Innerhules Gallery in New York City is unauthorized. The exhibition featured 62 of his paintings and prints. 2008. In March, a stenciled graffiti work appeared on Thames Water Tower in the middle of the Holland Park roundabout, and it was widely attributed to Banksy. It was of a child painting the tag "Take These Euro Society." In bright orange. London Borough of Hammersmith and Fulham spokesman, Councillor Greg Smith branded the art as vandalism, and ordered its immediate removal, which was carried out by H&F Council workmen within 3 days. In late August 2008, marking the third anniversary of Hurricane Katrina and the associated levee failure disaster, Banksy produced a series of works in New Orleans, Louisiana, mostly on buildings derelict since the disaster. A stencil painting attributed to Banksy appeared at a vacant petrol station in the Ensley neighborhood of Birmingham, Alabama on August 29 as Hurricane Gustav approached the New Orleans area. The painting depicting a hooded member of the Ku Klux Klan hanging from a noose was quickly covered with black spray paint and later removed altogether. His first official exhibition in New York City, the Village Pet Store on Charcoal Grill, opened October 5, 2008. The animatronic pets in the store window include a mother hen watching over her baby chicken McNuggets as they peck at a barbecue sauce packet, and a rabbit putting makeup on in a mirror. The Westminster City Council stated in October 2008 that the work One Nation Under CCTV, painted in April 2008 would be painted over as it was graffiti. The council said it would remove any graffiti, regardless of the reputation of its creator, and specifically stated that Banksy has no more right to paint graffiti than a child. Robert Davis, the chairman of the council planning committee, told the Times newspaper, "If we condone this, then we might as well say that any kid with a spray can is producing art." The work was painted over in April 2009. In December 2008, The Little Diver, a Banksy image of a diver in a duffel coat in Melbourne, Australia, was destroyed. The image had been protected by a sheet of clear perspex. However, silver paint was poured behind the protective sheet and later tagged with the words "Banksy was air." The image was almost completely obliterated. The Cannes Festival, over the weekend May 5 in London, Banksy hosted an exhibition called the Cannes Festival. It was situated on Leek Street, a road tunnel formerly used by Eurostar underneath London Waterloo Station. Graffiti artists with stencils were invited to join in and paint their own artwork, as long as it did not cover anyone else's. Artists included Biglarat, Broken Crow, C215, Cartrain, Doak, Dotmasters, J. Glover, Ben Ain, Euless, Hero, Pure Evil, Jeff or Copyright Rosol, Mr. Brainwash, Tom Civil Rhodesworth and Sten and Lex. Banksy invited 39 artists from around the world, including Sten Lex, BSAS Stencil, Prism, Rhodesworth, Blick, C215, Dotmasters, Hero, Sardu, Luca Melonti, Fail, Logan Hicks, BTOY, VHILS, Vexter and John Gridder exhibited their works in an abandoned tunnel near Leek Street in southeast London. 2009. In May 2009, Banksy parted company with agent Steve Lazarides and announced that Pest Control, the handling service who act on his behalf, would be the only point of sale for new works. On June 13, 2009, the Banksy vs Bristol Museum show opened at Bristol City Museum and Art Gallery, featuring more than 100 works of art, including animatronics and installations. It is his largest exhibition yet, featuring 78 new works. Reaction to the show was positive, with over 8,500 visitors to the show on the first weekend. Over the course of the 12 weeks, the exhibition was visited over 300,000 times. In September 2009, a Banksy work parodying the royal family was partially destroyed by Hackney Council after they served an enforcement notice for graffiti removal to the former address of the property owner. The mural had been commissioned for the 2003 Blur single Crazy Beat, and the property owner, who had allowed it to be painted, was reported to have been in tears when she saw it was being painted over. In December 2009, Banksy marked the end of the 2009 United Nations Climate Change Conference by painting 4 murals on global warming. One included the phrase, "I don't believe in global warming." The words were submerged in water. A feud and graffiti war between Banksy and King Robbo broke out when Banksy allegedly painted over one of Robbo's tags. The feud has led to many of Banksy's works being altered by graffiti writers. Exit Through the Gift Shop, the world premiere of the film Exit Through the Gift Shop occurred at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, on January 24. He created 10 street artworks around Park City and Salt Lake City to tie in with the screening. In February, the White House Public House in Liverpool, England, was sold for £114,000 at auction. The side of the building has an image of a giant rat by Banksy. In March 2010, the work Forgive Us Our Trespassing was displayed in the London Underground. The work had to be displayed without the halo over the boy's head. After a few days the halo was repainted and the poster was removed by tube advertising bosses. The display was organised by Art Below, a London-based public art agency. In April 2010, Melbourne City Council in Australia reported that they had inadvertently ordered private contractors to paint over the last remaining Banksy art in the city. The image was of a rat descending in a parachute adorning the wall of an old council building behind the Forum Theatre. This report was false as the image was destroyed by plumbers in May 2012 and received a decent amount of local press in 2008. Vandals had poured paint over a stencil of an old-fashioned diver wearing a trench coat. A council spokeswoman has said they would now rush through retrospective permits to protect other famous or significant artworks in the city. In April 2010, to coincide with the premiere of Exit Through the Gift Shop in San Francisco, 5 of his works appeared in various parts of the city. Banksy reportedly paid a San Francisco Chinatown building owner $50 for the use of their wall for one of his stencils. In early May 2010, 7 new Banksy works of art appeared in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, though most have been subsequently painted over or removed. In May 2010, to coincide with the premiere of Exit Through the Gift Shop in Royal Oak, Banksy visited the Detroit area and left his mark in several places in Detroit and Warren. Shortly after, his work depicting a little boy holding a can of red paint next to the words "I remember when all this was trees" was excavated by the 555 non-profit gallery and studios. They claim that they do not intend to sell the work but plan to preserve it and display it at their Detroit gallery. There was also an attempted removal of one of the Warren works known as Diamond Girl. In late January 2011, Exit Through the Gift Shop was nominated for a 2010 Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. Banksy released a statement about the nomination, where he said, "This is a big surprise. I don't agree with the concept of award ceremonies, but I'm prepared to make an exception for the ones I'm nominated for. The last time there was a naked man covered in gold paint in my house, it was me." Leading up to the Oscars, Banksy blanketed Los Angeles with street art. Many people speculated if Banksy would show up at the Oscars in disguise and make a surprise appearance if he won the Oscar. Exit Through the Gift Shop did not win the award, which went to Inside Job. In early March 2011, Banksy responded to the Oscars with an artwork in Western, UK, of a little girl holding the Oscar and pouting. Many people think that it is in reference to 15-month-old Lara, who dropped and damaged her father's Oscar statue. Exit Through the Gift Shop was broadcast on British public television station Channel 4 on August 13, 2011. Banksy was also credited with the opening couch gag for the 2010 The Simpsons episode Money Bart, depicting people working in deplorable conditions and using endangered or mythical animals to make both the episodes sell in the merchandise connected with the program. His name appears several times throughout the episode's opening sequence, spray-painted on assorted walls and signs. Fox sanitized parts of the opening for taste, and to make it less grim. In January 2011, Banksy published the original storyboard on its website. According to Banksy, the storyboard led to delays, disputes over broadcast standards and a threatened walkout by the animation department. Executive Director Al John jokingly said, "This is what you get when you outsource." The work Forgive Us Our Trespassing by Banksy was displayed in March 2010 at London Bridge in conjunction with Art Below, an arts company that put on art shows on the London Underground. The work was censored by the Transport for London, forbidding display of the work with its halo, because of the prevalence of graffiti in the underground. It was displayed without the halo over the boy's head, but after a few days the halo was repainted by a graffitist, so the TFL disposed of the poster. This decline went through the press and several articles were published remarking on the progress of the poster. 2011, in May 2011 Banksy released a lithographic print which showed a smoking petrol bomb contained in a Tesco value bottle. This followed a long-running campaign by locals against the opening of a Tesco Express supermarket in Banksy's home city of Bristol. Violent clashes had taken place between police and demonstrators in the Stokes Croft area. Banksy produced the poster ostensibly to raise money for local groups in the Stokes Croft area and to raise money for the legal defence of those arrested during the riots. The posters were sold exclusively at the Bristol Anarchists Book Fair in Stokes Croft for £5 each. In December, he unveiled Cardinal Sin at the Walker Art Gallery, Liverpool. The bust, which replaces a priest's face with a pixelated effect, was a statement on the child abuse scandal in the Catholic Church. 2012 In May, his parachuting rat, painted in Melbourne in the late 1990s, was accidentally destroyed by plumbers installing new pipes. In July, prior to the 2012 Olympic Games, Banksy posted photographs of paintings with an Olympic theme on his website but did not disclose their location. 2013, on February 18, BBC News reported that a recent Banksy mural, known as the slave labour mural portraying a young child sewing Union flag bunting, had been removed from the side of a Poundland store in Wood Green, North London, and soon appeared for sale in Fine Art Auctions Miami's catalogue. News of this has reportedly caused lots of anger in the local community and is considered by some to be a theft. Fine Art Auctions Miami has rejected claims of theft, saying it had signed a contract with a well-known collector, and that everything was above board. Despite this, the local councillor for Wood Green is campaigning for the work's return. On the scheduled day of the auction, Fine Art Auctions Miami announced that it had withdrawn the work of art from the sale. On May 11, BBC News reports that the same Banksy mural is up for auction again in Covent Garden by the Sincura Group. The auction is scheduled to take place in June. It is expected to fetch up to £450,000. On September 24, after over a year since his previous piece, a new Banksy mural went up on his website along with the subtitle "Better Out Than In." Better Out Than In. On October 1, Banksy began a one-month show on the streets of New York City, for which he opened a separate website and granted an interview to the Village Voice via his publicist. A pop-up boutique of about 25 spray art canvases on Fifth Avenue near Central Park Saturday on October 12. Tourists were able to buy Banksy art for just $60 each. In a note posted to his website, the artist wrote, "Please note this was a one-off. The stall will not be there again." The BBC estimated that the street stall art pieces could be worth as much as $31,000. The booth was manned by an unknown elderly gent who went about 4 hours before making a sale, yawning and eating lunch as people strolled by without a second glance at the work. Banksy chronicled the surprise sale in a video posted to his website noting, "Yesterday I set up a stall in the park selling 100% authentic original signed Banksy canvases for $60 each." The press reported that New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg called Banksy a vandal whose work is not his definition of art, and that the NYPD's Vandal Squad was on the hunt for the Banksy over his various graffiti art and installations. One creation was a fiberglass sculpture of a Ronald McDonald and a real person, barefoot and in ragged cloths, shining the oversized shoes of Ronald McDonald. The sculpture was unveiled in Queens but moved outside a different McDonald's around the city every day. Other works included a YouTube video showing what appears to be footage of jihadist militants shooting down an animated Dumbo the elephant. Traveling installations that toured the city including a slaughterhouse delivery truck full of stuffed animals and a waterfall. And a modified painting donated to a charity shop which was later sold in an online auction for $615,000. Banksy also posted a mock-up of a New York Times op-ed attacking the design of the One World Trade Center after the New York Times rejected his submission. The residency in New York concluded on October 31, 2013. Many of the pieces however were vandalized, removed or stolen. Notable artworks. Regarding personal fame, Banksy has stated that "We don't need any more heroes. We just need someone to take out the recycling." However, in addition to his artwork, Banksy has claimed responsibility for a number of high-profile artworks, including the following: at London Zoo, he climbed into the penguin enclosure and painted "We board of fish" in 7-foot-high letters. At Bristol Zoo, he left the message "I want out. This place is too cold. Keeper smells. Boring, boring, boring." In the elephant enclosure. In March 2005, he placed subverted artworks in the Museum of Modern Art, Metropolitan Museum of Art, and American Museum of Natural History in Manhattan as well as the Brooklyn Museum in Brooklyn. In May 2005, Banksy's version of a primitive cave painting depicting a human figure hunting wildlife while pushing a shopping trolley was hung in Gallery 49 of the British Museum, London. In August 2005, Banksy painted 9 images on the Israeli West Bank barrier, including an image of a ladder going up and over the wall and an image of children digging a hole through the wall. In October 2005, Banksy designed 6 station IDs for Nickelodeon. In April 2006, Banksy created a sculpture based on a crumpled red phone box with a pickaxe in its side, apparently bleeding, and placed it in a side street in Soho, London. It was later removed by Westminster Council. In June 2006, Banksy created an image of a naked man hanging out of a bedroom window on a wall visible from Park Street in central Bristol. The image sparked a heated debate, with the Bristol City Council leaving it up to the public to decide whether it should stay or go. After an internet discussion in which 97% of the 500 people surveyed supported the stencil, the City Council decided it would be left on the building. The mural was later defaced with blue paint. In August-September 2006, Banksy placed up to 500 copies of Paris Hilton's debut CD, Paris, in 48 different UK record stores with his own cover art and remixes by Danger Mouse. Music tracks were given titles such as, "Why Am I Famous?" "What Have I Done?" and "What Am I For?" Several copies of the CD were purchased by the public before stores were able to remove them, some going on to be sold for as much as £750 on online auction websites such as eBay. The cover art depicted Hilton digitally altered to appear topless. Other pictures feature her with her chihuahua Tinkerbell's head replacing her own, and one of her stepping out of a luxury car, edited to include a group of homeless people, which included the caption "90% of success is just showing up." In September 2006, Banksy dressed an inflatable doll in the manner of a Guantanamo Bay detainment camp prisoner and then placed the figure within the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad ride at the Disneyland theme park in Anaheim, California. He makes stickers and was responsible for the cover art of Blur's 2003 album Think Tank. In September 2007, Banksy covered a wall in Portobello Road with a French artist painting graffiti of Banksy's name. In July 2012, in the run-up to the London 2012 Olympic Games, he created several pieces based upon this event. One included an image of an athlete throwing a missile instead of javelin, evidently taking a poke at the surface-to-air missile sites positioned in the Stratford area to defend the Games. In April 2014, he created a piece in Cheltenham, near the GCHQ headquarters, which depicts 3 men wearing sunglasses and using listening devices to snoop on a telephone box, evidently criticizing the recent global surveillance disclosures of 2013. This was only confirmed by Banksy as his work later in June 2014. Technique. Asked about his technique, Banksy said, "I use whatever it takes. Sometimes that just means drawing a moustache on a girl's face on some billboard, sometimes that means sweating for days over an intricate drawing. Efficiency is the key." Stencils are traditionally hand-drawn or printed onto sheets of acetate or card, before being cut out by hand. Because of the secretive nature of Banksy's work and identity, it is uncertain what techniques he uses to generate the images in his stencils, though it is assumed he uses computers for some images due to the photocopy nature of much of his work. He mentions in his book, Wall and Peace, that as he was starting to do graffiti, he was always too slow and was either caught or could never finish the art in one sitting. So he devised a series of intricate stencils to minimize time and overlapping of the color. There is dispute in the street art world over the legitimacy of stencils, with many artists criticizing their use as cheating. Political and social themes. We can't do anything to change the world until capitalism crumbles. In the meantime, we should all go shopping to console ourselves. Banksy once characterized graffiti as a form of underclass revenge, or guerrilla warfare that allows an individual to snatch away power, territory and glory from a bigger and better equipped enemy. Banksy sees a social class component to this struggle, remarking, "If you don't own a train company, then you go and paint on one instead." Banksy's work has also shown a desire to mock centralized power, hoping that his work will show the public that although power does exist and works against you, that power is not terribly efficient and it can and should be deceived. Banksy's works have dealt with an array of political and social themes, including anti-war, anti-capitalism, anti-fascism, anti-imperialism, anti-authoritarianism, anarchism, nihilism, and existentialism. Additionally, the components of the human condition that his works commonly critique are greed, poverty, hypocrisy, boredom, despair, absurdity, and alienation. Although Banksy's works usually rely on visual imagery and iconography to put forth his message, he has made several politically related comments in his various books. In summarizing his list of people who should be shot, he listed fascist thugs, religious fundamentalists, people who write lists telling you who should be shot. While facetiously describing his political nature, Banksy declared that "Sometimes I feel so sick at the state of the world, I can't even finish my second apple pie." Critics, Peter Gibson, a spokesman for Keep Britain Tidy, asserts that Banksy's work is simple vandalism, and Diane Shakespeare, an official for the same organization, was quoted as saying, "We are concerned that Banksy's street art glorifies what is essentially vandalism." In his column for The Guardian, satirist Charlie Brooker wrote of Banksy, "His work looks dazzlingly clever to idiots." He has also been long criticized for copying the work of Bibliography, creator of the life-sized stencil technique in early 1980s Paris. Blick's own response to such criticism has been varied. He has expressed pleasure at being an inspiration to an artist that good, and in early 2011 was seen adding to a mural initiated by Banksy in San Francisco. However, Blick expressed a different perspective later that same year, in the documentary Graffiti Wars, stating, "When I see Banksy making a man with a child or Banksy making rats, of course I see immediately where he takes the idea. I do feel angry. When you're an artist you use your own techniques. It's difficult to find a technique and style in art, so when you have a style and you see someone else is taking it and reproducing it, you don't like that. I'm not sure about his integrity. Maybe he has to show his face now and show what kind of guy he is." Bibliography. Banksy has self-published several books that contain photographs of his work in various countries as well as some of his canvas work and exhibitions, accompanied by his own writings. Banksy, Banging Your Head Against a Brick Wall, ISBN 978-0-9541704-0-0. Banksy, Existentialism, ISBN 978-0-9541704-1-7. Banksy, Cut It Out, ISBN 978-0-9544960-0-5. Banksy, Wall and Peace, ISBN 978-1-84413-786-2. Banksy, Pictures of Walls, ISBN 978-0-9551946-0-3. Banksy, You Are an Acceptable Level of Threat, ISBN 978-1908211,088. Random House published Wall and Peace in 2005. It contains a combination of images from his 3 previous books, as well as some new material. The book was a bestseller in the arts category for several years after its release. Books about his work, authored by others: Ulrich Blancher, copyright, Something to S, Pr. I, Der Street Artivist Banksy. Eine Kunstwissenschaft Leitschi Untersuchung, ISBN 978-3-8288-2283-2. Martin Bull, Banksy Locations and Tours, a collection of graffiti locations and photographs in London, ISBN 978-0-9554712-4-7. Will Ellsworth Jones, Banksy, The Man Behind the Wall, ISBN 978-1-8451369-9-4. Paul Gough, Banksy, The Bristol Legacy, ISBN 978-1-96593-96-4. Steve Wright, Banksy's Bristol, Home Sweet Home, Tangent Books, ISBN 978-1-96477-00-4. Risa, Mirko. Peters, Jarrett. Zillman, Yaiko, eds. Urban Discipline 2002, Graffiti Art. Urban Discipline, Graffiti Art 3. Hamburg, Getting Up. PA 144. ISBN A3-00-009421-0. See also, At Earth, Above, Blickler Rat, Detachment of Wall Paintings, King Robbo, List of Urban Artists, Mr. Brainwash Parachuting Rat, Street Art, Works by Banksy Damaged or Destroyed, References. External links, Official website, Pest Controller Official Banksy Authentication, Banksy Street Art Photographs, Gallery of Banksy Photographs, Banksy Discography at Discogs, Banksy at the Internet Movie Database, Banksy Images from FLICKR, Banksy Works from ArtNet, Banksy Gaulia by BBC News, Banksy v Bristol Museum slideshow by BBC, Banksy Under the Hammer slideshow by The First Post, Banksy on the West Bank slideshow by The First Post, Banksy, In Plain Sight exhibition slideshow by The New Yorker, Stencil Revolution about Banksy, Banksy's One Nation Under. CCTV, QuickTime VR.